Hello there, and welcome to Fabulous Folklore, the podcast for all things folklore, occult, and just a bit weird. I'm your host, Icy Sedgwick, blogger, fantasy author, and your guide into these rather mysterious realms. I've got some rare things to show you, so come on in, take a look around, but be careful not to touch anything. These things sometimes bite. Well, hello there everyone, and welcome to the final instalment in this series of Festive Folklore episodes that are coming to you with the help of some of my fabulous folklore friends. We're turning our attention to New Year this time, and I'm joined by my podcasting pals Bethan, Briggs-Miller and Ailsa Clarke, and together they are Eerie Essex. How the devil are you both?
Still feeling festive-y?
Oh, I'm still a bit hungover.
Yeah, for anyone who's listening to this, the day it comes out, it is Saturday. Because we are in that weird period where everyone forgets what day it is, and has eaten too much cheese. And yeah, so New Year type stuff. Obviously, I think Christmas sort of is the bit that gets a lot of the folklore, but New Year actually has a lot of really weird stuff associated with it anyway. And I've got a whole episode on New Year stuff and also my particular festive slash New Year tradition of first footing, which people outside of sort of Scotland, Ireland, and the north have never really heard of. Who would like to kick off with some New Year folklore?
So I found it really interesting that celebrating New Year on January 1st wasn't always the this tradition. In fact, it could fall between anywhere between January 1st and March 24th, which like brings you back to like Beltane and things like that. So, and this was only changed in like what was it, 1752.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not a huge amount of time ago that we just sort of plonked it anywhere. But using January as like the new year, so I think is something that was brought over by the Romans. And obviously January is named after the god Janus, the two-faced god who looks both backwards and forwards. And there was a lot of customs around. I was wondering whether like a lot of the customs we have around doorways were maybe, sort of drifted down from that old worship of Janus, because he was obviously the god of doorways, and we have things like you've done it before, first footing. But the idea, there's a lot of like traditions around opening all the doors and windows to let the new year in, like sweeping out the old year, which I think is also done in Chinese New Year as well. So that was quite interesting to me. It's quite hard to find anything in Essex, which is why I looked at the Romans, because we're quite famous for our Romans here. I did find some other weird things. I also found like some strange little poems about uh, various traditions. There was one about burning the mistletoe on New Year's Eve, is believed to indicate the like who your suitor in the coming year will be. I don't know how it indicates that, but apparently it does. But along with that, the throwing of chestnuts into the fire, and then whether or not they crackled would indicate whether the person you love loves you back. And this was done on New Year's Eve, and it had a little poem which was crackle chestnuts truly tell if my lover loves me well, which I thought was really sweet.
Aww.
Um, I'm trying to find, and there was a really like spooky one as well. There's a lot of this idea around New Year where you shouldn't wear anything old, you shouldn't start anything that you can't finish on New Year's Day. Yeah, don't bring anything into the house, don't take anything out of the house unless you've brought something in new first. Don't do certain things like any work. So there's a poem that goes, who knits with sorrow sits, who spins adds three to her sins, who weaves the virgin grieves, who nets God forgets, who fishes against heaven wishes. And these all come from like very like sort of Victorian papers that are talking about like folk customs that they've heard about. And there was quite a sweet one from I think it was from the Fens. No, the Fens was the one that you shouldn't run into three women walking together because that was an ill omen on New Year's Day.
Weirdly specific.
Sorry? I
weirdly
know, it's very
specific.
strange, isn't it? But
Very.
if you run into two men walking with one woman, it means you will get married in that year.
Okay.
It's all and the quite a sweet one about the price of corn, which was on New Year's Day, the children would be given a piece of corn each, and they must have had a lot of children because they had one for every single month. And then each one would go up to the fire and throw the corn into the fire. And depending whether, oh no, they wouldn't throw it into the fire, they'd place it on the hearth. If it jumped, it means that the corn would be cheap that month. If it leapt towards the fire, it meant that the corn would be very dear. Or if it stayed still, the price would remain the same. So stock market predictions.
I like that. I wonder if they
Hmm.
still do that now.
Didn't you bring up nuts on the fire last year? You always putting stuff on the fireplace around this time of year in your tales.
Me or I see.
You.
Nuts on
I
the
mean, we had a
fireplace.
giggle about putting your nuts on the fire.
Maybe. I can't
I know
remember that one.
there's quite a few love divinations around hazelnuts, I
That's
think.
it.
Yeah, where
Hazelnuts. Maybe it was
hazelnuts
you and your
were.
nuts, I see.
Hmm?
Maybe it was you and your nuts. I can't remember
Probably.
now.
I know there's one version where you put one for every potential suitor, and you think who has more than one? I mean, I don't even have that. So the idea of having like a handful of hazelnuts that you can then put in, yeah, it's usually like which one popped or whatever was the right one, and then you sort of think, well, A, you would have to keep track of which one was which, and B, what if they all popped?
But it sounds more wholesome than Tinder, so I'm all
Well,
for it.
I mean, most things are, let's be honest. There's
Oh,
also
we
one
should
you
go
can
back
do.
to that instead of Bumble and Tinder.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I'd be down for that. And I sort of think anyone who was down with the idea of being selected by putting a hazelnut in a hearth is kind of going to be our sort of person.
Mm.
So yeah, I feel like we should let the hazelnuts decide, which isn't something that you get to say very often.
It's a hell of a pickup line.
You were my hazelnut.
My hazelnut jump for you.
Oh God, this is a rom-com waiting to happen. Um, I think the thing that
We
struck me
watched
about
that.
all the thing that struck me about all of those superstitions was the one about not starting something that you can't finish
Mm.
on USA. And I'm like, oh no, I'm thinking of all the like knitting and crochet projects that I've
Just don't
started.
pick it up that day.
Whoever came up with that obviously had ADHD or something. It was like, oh, just another unfinished project. That's
Yeah,
fine. It's superstition.
reading all of these, I've been trying to find this old fairy tale that I remember reading as a kid, and I've never been able to find it since. And I can't remember what book I had as a child that I read this in. But it was about a witch visits two households, and she tells them, "I'll visit, and when I visit, whatever you're doing when I get there is what you'll be doing all year." So one woman thinks, well, I'm going to count money and I'll have money to count all year if I count money. Except she decides first that she's got to clear out all of her stuff um, to make room for all the money she's going to collect. So when the witch gets there, she's still clearing out her stuff. So she spends all year throwing her things away, which is actually something they warn you about doing on New Year's. Don't get rid of anything from the house because if you do that, you'll lose things all year. And then the other woman is like, a tailor or something, I can't remember, and she like goes, oh, that this is silly, but I'm just going to get on with my work. So she just keeps on cutting cloth, and then the witch arrives, and guess what, all year she makes great sales.
I like
So
that.
but I can't remember where that's from.
You told it in the episode with I think it was James Shakes Lawman,
Oh yeah, I must have
and we
mentioned it
brought up what
before.
happens if she comes in and you've just passed wind.
Yeah, I remember that now.
That's such a
Yeah, we had a
lawman
lot of
kind of
fart
thing.
jokes in that
Such a
episode.
lawman thing. And the conversation went downhill from there.
I don't know what I would have to. I mean, there's so many things I think, oh my God, imagine if I was reading. But then would I get bored of reading that book or would I be allowed to read another book? Like
Mm.
how like specific is it? Is it just the general vibe of what you're doing or is it that specific thing?
I think it's the general vibe because if that woman was cutting cloth and she was cutting one piece of cloth all year, that would just she'd be cutting powder by at least by the end of January.
Yeah. So yeah, I'd probably hope I was reading then. That would be a nice thing to spend all year doing. I mean my to read pile is currently taller than me, so That gives you something. No, people are then going, but how tall are you? That's a useless measure, but you'll just have to guess. Um, cool. They're quite interesting ones, and I don't know how I feel about the idea of like not throwing things out on New Year's Eve. Because again, how far do you take that? Are you still allowed to like put things in the bin because it's like food peelings and flushing the toilet would be a big
So
one. Like,
you can throw things out, but you must bring something new into the house first. And it can be anything, like the smallest thing. Bring a stone in,
okay,
but you have to do that before you throw out anything.
that again
Be
weirdly familiar.
terrified on New Year's Eve. Now I'm just sitting there.
There was also something about having a peacock feather in the house, which I think was a Cornish one, and you shouldn't have one in the house. Basically, it's bad luck, especially on New Year's Eve and New Year's Day. And you should definitely get. They make a point of saying, make sure you get rid of your peacock feathers after Christmas, but also don't burn any of the Christmas greenery because that also would be very bad luck.
Crumbs.
There's a lot of rules.
I think one of mine is that I've got coming up burning greenery. So
Yeah, there's stuff about burning greenery as well, like burning mistletoe to find out
yeah,
who your lover's going to be. It's all very confusing. It's
still very
backwards.
confusing.
Well, Bethan, do you want to tell us some of the ones you've got then? Because obviously we all love burning things here on Fabulous Folklore. So it sounds like we get to set fire to quite a lot of stuff, which is potentially good or
Um,
bad.
well, I mean, I knew that Ailsa would have Essex covered because she dove straight into it. And when we do episodes like this, like collaborations, I take the opportunity to do a little bit of Welshness just to throw
Yay!
into the mix. And New Year's, we do well. You know where I'm going with this, don't you? The
Possibly.
Mari Lwyd.
Oh, Sean will be
You and
happy
your
because Sean
horse.
brought that up for Christmas as well.
Well, I've got some local tales to go with it.
Excellent.
So I looked up the general, like what I mean, Sean's gone over it, you know, the Mari Lwyd, the horse's skull that has been prepared for months. It's got bottle ends in its eyes, ribbons, goes door to a lot of like pubs and houses, and there's a poetry rap battle with the people inside, and that Mari always wins, mainly because everyone wants the Mari to win, because who wouldn't want a troupe of singing, dancing, merry-making people into their house, even though they do drink your beer. Yeah, I know you wouldn't, Ailsa, but it would be fun.
I'm a little
Um,
hobbit. I like my comforts and then my alone time.
you'd be like Bilbo in The Dwarves Arrived. No, not more. Um, so I thought I'd dive into the British newspaper archives, A, because it's fun, and B, just to see what if there were any shenanigans that happened with the Mary, and there were. But first of all, I came across this really lovely piece. Have you ever found those Country Life magazine where they do a little like looking at the folklore of Britain, but they do it so well?
Mm.
And this one was just called Traditions of Christmas. And it was by a Welsh reporter, Ned Lewis. So obviously he took the opportunity, like me now, to go to Wales and tell everybody about our traditions. So he starts off by saying, once when I was a child in Montgomeryshire, a gypsy woman stood at our door and sang, all under the leaves of life, I met with Virgin Seven. Oh, what are you seeking, you seven fair maids, all under the leaves of life? And that's his first memory of like anything folkloric in happening in his childhood. Um, and long afterwards, he met the other 11 verses of this traditional carol that would be sung on the doorstep of anyone visiting, especially in Montgomeryshire. Um, and once he had a famous family harpist actually turn up with every year it got bigger and bigger. This troupe going around house to house singing the song, and the rhymes became a little bit more garbled as they went along, a lot less sort of pretty. The more the drink flowed, maybe. A pocket full of money, a cellar full of beer, and a good big fat pig. Try say that fast.
I'd rather not.
I think that may
Um,
end up getting us cancelled.
to keep you all the year. So people seem to go absolutely mad about pigs at this time of year, Christmas and New Year. So um, rather than traditional turkey. I don't know if it's the same everywhere, but in Wales it was all about the pig on Christmas Day and New Year's Day. And so like the pig would be slaughtered on Christmas or Christmas Eve, and that meat would see you through right until New Year's Day. It would cover like breakfast and lunches and dinners. Um,
Just out of quick curiosity, when was he collecting that particular carol? Like when
oh,
was it
he
from?
just, it was every year, and like he would just learn a little bit more every year.
No, I mean when was he knocking around? Because obviously we don't use the G word now,
Oh,
so obviously that's why I'm
this
just.
was in 1975,
Oh, okay, so obviously, yeah, because obviously,
fairly
yeah,
recent.
we don't use the G word now, but obviously in the 70s they didn't know any better.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So, let's have a look. So this asking for pennies was picked up a lot by the children.
Mhm.
So we have something in Wales called, let me just get this right now, Caleneg. So they would very much like Ailsa was almost saying, you have to give something in order to take something. So if they wanted pennies or if the adults wanted beers, and the adults would give song, they would give poetry in return, but the children would make these little offerings, and they were apples that were poked with cloves and cinnamon and different things. And this was the sort of like gift that was given to the people in the house, and they would give the children pennies and they just go house to house with all these apples they decorated. So a very sort of reverse Halloween trick or
Mm,
treat. It's treat and treat. There's no trick.
yeah, I quite like that.
It's sweet, isn't it? Um, let's have a look. There's so many here.
The good old British newspaper archive.
Yeah, I had to try and read it too because it's got a nice little like line across it where it's been
Yeah.
creased. So
There was one I was reading earlier that was basically just obliterated pixels that somehow managed to pass that together.
I hate it when you get the ones where it looks like at some point the newspaper's gotten wet and the ink started to run, and you're like, yeah, that's lost to the winds of time.
okay, so there was another thing that was observed between Christmas and New Year's, and this was called Plygame. And this was the name for the traditional early Christmas morning service and then the early services after that. So Plygame literally means cockcrow. So people would have been up, or it was a way of it was derived from Puthli Cantus, cockcrow. And so the custom was widespread, and the person who wrote this down said Mrs. Thrale in her journal of 1774 relates that the inhabitants of Dyffryn Clwyd kindled their lights at 2 in the morning and sang and danced to the harp of the Plygame. In Lagan, which is actually quite close to where I grew up, so I always get excited when I see little villages crop up that I know. Boys and men on Christmas Eve used to run up and down the street carrying lighted torches, while at Tenby, crowds shouting verses and blowing cow horns escorted the rector from his house to the church. So you imagine everybody's actually had quite a bit to drink in this period, and then at 2 a.m., 3 a.m., 5 a.m., you've got people running up and down the street blowing these horns. I don't know how well it would have gone down, maybe. If you weren't in the mood, if you were a bit of a Scrooge.
Especially if
Um,
it was celebrating the night before. Imagine waking up on New Year's Day to the horns being blown.
oh no, it's Armageddon. There were also special candles. So this was now the Welsh language is not very kind to people with a lisp like me that try to keep the lisp on the low. So bear with me. The can the can hoethlu plygame were made by local chandlers, and better still, local poets wrote new candle carols about the candles. Plygame, it began as a festival of light, but also became the singing service, which we have just spoken about. In the hills of Montgomeryshire, as many as 30 carols might be sung, some of which had 12 verses. And after the service came breakfast of hot ale and toasted cheese. This is a reminder. So I quite like the idea of a breakfast of hot ale and toasted cheese. That sounds quite nice, especially after 30 carols, each of 12 verses.
That's like what,
Remarkably,
360 verses.
yep, yep, possibly hungover. Remarkably, this old institution aroused no sectarian animosities, and in at least 3 counties, it still flourishes today. So that was still going on in the 70s. I don't know if it's still going on today. I don't know if anyone's that stalwart anymore to be up at that time and singing that many verses, but hey, who knows?
I once had to get an MRI and I made the mistake of drinking a hell of a lot the night before. And I can tell you, getting an MRI with a hangover is one of the worst things you can do. And I imagine it would be something like that.
Beating then like cowbells down the
Oh
street.
my God.
I don't drink, so I can only think, how would I cope if I had a migraine and that happened?
Oh, yeah, not good. You just have to go out and be one of the revelers, I think. You just have to you go lean into the skid a bit with that one. Um, and then as I said, the most well-known one, which is of the past, like I say, about 5 years, become really popular everywhere, the Mari Lwyd. I was lucky enough when I lived in Wales to see it once. It came to our local pub. We had clog dancers and fiddle players, and of course, the Mari won the contest against the landlord because everyone wanted the Mari to come in. No one was going to beat her, and it was a really good night. Um, so yeah, it was a bleached skull of a horse, and it's hung about with linen cloths and furnished with reins and bells and mounted on a pole. And then that was followed by a lively group of people who escorted the Mary through the streets. Let's go on to my next page. So here is, I've actually got a little snippet of one of the things they would sing as they were going down the street. So the Mari Lwyd would sing, I'll sing for a week and a fortnight, even a month if need be. There's a challenge to you. And then the house would sing, I'll sing for a year if God is beside me, without fearing any evening during the holidays. Really good rhyming, top notch. But and it would go on and on and on. It was supposed to be like who could outdo each other. It's who got fed up first and just went, oh, just get in here. So after a good deal of horseplay, singing and dancing, everyone would sit down to eat. And so that's your basic premises. I won't go over it too much if it's already been on, but when I looked in the newspaper archives, I kept coming across like every single year there was, it's going to be revived this year. We've seen this here and this here, and every year. And I think if the Mari Lwyd is out every year, it's revived. I mean, even today, there's like you'll find the Gazette somewhere is going, this old tradition has been brought back to life. Never died, but okay. Um, but it has spread beyond Wales, and I'm actually wanting to do it in January here in Wivenhoe. I couldn't get hold of a horse's skull. That was a fun post on the local Facebook group asking for a skull.
Class.
Some of the comments, it was like, "Are you all right, Bethan?"
I'd be worried about what you'd get offered.
Yeah, I didn't even think that through, like who would actually answer my call. But Dean, the Welsh magician, we love Dean. He's a local magician from the Magic Circle, and he's got a 3D printer, and he knows the Mari Lwyd. So he's sending me pictures of it being assembled. So I've got this really lovely Mari Lwyd coming to me. I'm going to decorate, and we're going to go around in January, trying to reinvigorate it a little bit with some modern things. I'll keep you posted on that. But I don't know if Ailsa you've got any more because I've got a separate story. I found a Karen, a Mari Lwyd Karen.
Okay. Well, we need to know about the Mari Lwyd Karen then.
I don't know if anyone else to say
No,
anything before I go on to my Karen.
go on to you, Karen.
This made me laugh because it could have been written anytime. Whenever there's anything nice going on, you'll get someone having an absolute mare. Oh,
See what you did there? I like it.
thank you. That was unintentional too. Um, oh,
You just
before the
can't help
Karen,
it with the puns.
I love the puns. There was another newspaper article I won't go into, but it made me laugh because it was from the Mari Lwyd in Hela Q, which is where me and my dad used to go to get our Christmas tree every year. So I was excited again. Hela Q, I know where that is. And the title was Mari Lwyd, a Glamorgan Hope disappoints. So this guy had heard from someone somewhere that the Mari Lwyd was going to be on in Hela Q. He travelled really far to get there, and he kept going round and round the streets. And he got up to someone, and they were like, "We haven't had a Mari Lwyd here in years. Why don't you come and see my grandson's one he made out of papier-mâché, and it was for a school project." So the most he got out of the Mari Lwyd was something an 8-year-old had made.
Oh, that's like weirdly cute though.
It is. I think he got looked after. I think think everybody in the village felt very sorry for him that he'd
That's
gone
so
all
very
out.
Welsh.
It's so Welsh.
God, imagine if they'd ever done one on Blue Peter and there had been kids making Mari Lwyds up and down the country with like toilet rolls and sticky back plastic. That would have been immense.
That would
What
have
do you
been
think they'd
funny.
make the skull out of?
Oh
Wow.
God,
Egg
no.
boxes or something
Pipe
random.
cleaners?
I'm trying to find my Karen now.
Well, while you're doing that, I've got a quick question that popped into my head about the Mari Lwyd, and obviously we all know I love my horror films. What would happen if the person under the sheet trying to gain admittance and trying to be invited in, you can see where I'm going with this, was a vampire? Would that be an excellent cover story?
That's
Oh,
very The Sinners.
oh, I like that. Yes. I think you need to write. Well, we have got a writer in our midst who likes writing horror. I see. That would be, I mean, they finished it now, haven't they? But that would be a really good episode of What We Do in the Shadows.
I actually prefer Wellington Paranormal, but don't tell anyone.
No, I like Wellington Paranormal too. It's so good. Um, so this was in the Western Daily Press on 25th of November 1949. So this village had really gone all out to get the Mari Lwyd done, and they made a really good job of this horse's skull. They had people rehearsing for it for ages, and on New Year's they went out, and so I'll read it out from the paper. The men, William Henry Simmons, 47, and John Roderick, 33, both of Alsworth Road, Cardiff, were each fined £2 for wandering abroad and begging. The police said there were about 40 complaints, but mainly from this. And it doesn't say the lady's name, but that's why I call her Karen. So basically, this woman had complained. She said that when she answered the door to a knock by two men and the rowdy bunch, she was so shocked with fright that she couldn't move, and that they were practicing an old Welsh custom, and it must have been dark magic, and she was terribly afraid. So they fined the Mari Lwyd's revellers for frightening this old lady when they put so much effort into it. And I don't think there were 40 complaints. I think this is in the days before Facebook community posts, but you know that's what would happen now.
I already know exactly who it would be in my Facebook community group posting. I think
I
anyone
think,
listens going, it's that one.
yeah, everybody listening to this is like, I bet it would be so and so in my village. So there you go, a little bit of extra Mari Lwydness.
I'm actually genuinely, I suppose, I don't know why I'm surprised that it would spill over into New Year because it is such a weird amorphous time anyway, where
Mm,
time loses all meaning and people are sort of celebrating, and not necessarily the bit in between, but people do celebrate kind of
Mm.
twice. So it's like you, if you'd put that much effort into making a Mari, I imagine you would want to be like, let's get it out again, lads, because otherwise you've got like a whole year to wait until you can do it again, I would imagine. So.
oh,
Yeah.
surely you should be whipping that out all year long.
Well, you should. I mean, imagine taking the Mari to Wassail and to Harvest and everything. It would be brilliant. Maybe we could evolve
Mari
it.
Lwyd's wandering down the street, middle of
Kettle of
summer.
Karen, or the modern equivalent.
I think it's one of those things where it probably would be quite overwhelming if like nobody had told you that was a thing that happened. Like say you were staying somewhere like in a like cute little Airbnb and you just hadn't
And a
bothered to
dead
research
horse
where
came
you
to
were.
rap battle you.
Yeah, you would either go, this is amazing, or you'd be like, oh good God, I'm gonna leave a bad review on TripAdvisor. It's like it would go one of two ways. And I think I don't know how I would react. I mean, I would probably think that was a bit weird if someone knocked on my door, but it's because it's not a Newcastle thing. But, so you think fair enough. But I guess if it was in that area, you would hope people would be familiar with it.
But would you take them to court once you knew what was going on?
No, I mean, I suppose now I would know what it was, but I suppose like in this day and age, I'm kind of like I'm gonna have to film that for Facebook because then it's not real if it haven't hasn't gone on social media. So or you'd potentially send it to something like you've been framed. You know what I mean? Is that even a thing now? Have I just
It's
horribly
still
dated
going.
myself?
Is it still going?
I have no idea. Anyone who's under the age of about sort of like 30 will be like, "What? You've been framed?" Yeah, we'll leave that one.
Go Google it, children. Go Google it.
Yeah, I don't know. I just think that I did read it, and I think it was Henderson was talking about there being an equivalent of the Mari in the northern counties, but he doesn't specify which ones.
Mm.
But it was very specifically they would carry the image of a white horse from house to house. But it doesn't say there was certainly no rap battle. There was certainly no like frivolity in the same way. And then Henderson does that thing that 19th century scholars love to do, where he then goes, ah, it's a white horse. It must be some kind of descendant from Sleipnir and it must be related
Mm.
to Germanic religion. And you're like, maybe they really like Uffington. I don't know. It's there's any number of reasons why people have decided
It
to
could have
do
been,
that.
somebody once had a white horse and that white horse was very nice and they wanted to remember it.
Yeah. And in Wales, we have loads of like horsey folkloric things. The Keffel do. We like our horses.
We've just got murderous good folk, really. And
We've got the
black dog.
Bargist.
Yeah, we have the goodest boy, the black dog, and the guy trash in Yorkshire. But yeah, that's going off on a complete tangent that we don't need to address for New Year. But that's quite an interesting collection of stuff then. I love the fact that a lot of it came from the British newspaper archives, which is such a friend to all of our podcasts, I think. It really is quite helpful. I know when I was talking to Tracy Norman about it, obviously for her book Devon's Forgotten Witches, and there's just so much really cool stuff that she'd found of like witchcraft accusations in the 20th century, and it's like,
Mm.
Oh, I found one on the British newspaper archive whilst I was looking for New Year's and I saved it for later. A good,
excellent.
I think it was Saffron Walden.
What?
Yeah, like 19, might have been 1949.
Oh, that's late.
What?
Mm.
Saffron.
So obviously that's the folklore that you found. So the big question is because I think we sometimes forget that as folklorists we don't just collect folklore, we do actually practice it as well. So how do you mark New Year? And is that different from how you used to mark New Year? Because I must admit I don't like New Year at all. I could really take it or leave it, which is why I kind of try to add my own traditions. So by doing the first footing, I now do an Instagram live while I'm going around the block. Which is silly because I go out at like 5 minutes too, and then I'm standing outside my front door for 5 minutes just chatting away on Instagram live while like there's one person saying hello, and you don't half feel silly, but that's par for the course for me, really. So I think, you do create your own traditions. So yeah, that's my question. What do you do now, and is it different from what you used to do? And would you like to resurrect anything apart from the Mari Lwyd?
So the last few years I have done with some people competitive eating. One time we did chips, and then the next time we did dumplings, which was based off the Chinese New Year tradition of you eat as many dumplings as you can, and each dumpling is like more good luck for you. And I think our highest was the most somebody ate was something like 48.
What?
Yeah, it was
Wow.
immense.
Hero.
Like we had like a little chart. Everyone was ticking off how many dumplings that they'd eaten. I think I got to like 28 or something.
That's impressive enough, 28.
Yeah, it was difficult. It was difficult. Um, so I've done that in the last couple of years, but I think it's going to be a quiet one this year, to be honest.
Last couple of years I've had the boys, so I've let them stay up a bit late, put them to bed, and then ate mince pies and watched the fireworks on the telly. But this year I'm kid free. I don't know what to do with myself.
Come round, we'll watch horror movies again.
I'll eat 48 dumplings each.
Yeah, 48 dumplings. We'll be sick over each other.
That sounds lovely. So no, we got a lot of things either side really. Yes, I'm with you, Icy. I could take or leave New Year. I mean, we had the storytelling that you took part in a couple of weeks ago, and that for me, like sitting around sharing stories, and um, the next thing we've got at the Folklore Centre is Burns Night, where we're going to a pub, the Queen Street Brewhouse, Ailsa. Um, yeah, well, I'm planning for either side. I always forget New Year because I don't want to go out because everything is so expensive.
Mm.
And you have to pay and queue for ages to go and stand amongst a load of people who I can't stand in a sweaty, tight environment and go, hey.
You've just described my idea of hell.
Exactly.
I used to enjoy it when I was a teenager and I wasn't meant to be out, like when I was underage. But I think something about when you know, when you're actually meant to be out there and, doing stuff, it absolutely loses its appeal.
I
Maybe we
think
should do something we're not supposed to then.
Mm.
oh, I could give you a list. Uh, I think the best New Year I ever had, because I did actually go to see the fireworks on the Thames once,
Oh, nice.
and I remember it was like 6 hours of standing around in the cold waiting for 20 minutes of fireworks,
Oof.
and then everyone trying to get to the tube at the same time. So that was so much fun. And that must have been about 2008 going into 2009, I think. Um, and my favorite New Year that I ever spent, and again, it was in London. I was at my friend Scarlett's house in Holloway, and we ended up watching the Alexandra Palace fireworks from her rooftop.
Nice.
And then I
Oh,
went
that's lovely.
downstairs and watched an episode of The X-Files with someone. So, um, it was yeah, honestly, it was brilliant because it was such a lovely collection of people who obviously we all got on, and I liked everybody, and there wasn't that whole going out into public. It was being with people who whose society you can tolerate. And I'm
Mm.
uh generally not much of a people person, and yeah, it had the X-Files involved, so of course it was going to be cool. And and I think yeah, ever since I've come back to Newcastle, it's either been trying to decide what to do. So I went to a house party, which was really cool because my friend, his girlfriend at the time was Greek, so we did some of the Greek New Year traditions, which are very similar to the first footing ones that I was then going to go home and do when I got back, because my dad refuses to do the first footing now, so I have to. And I'm just not going to not do it because I just feel like it's one of those things where if I don't and then everything goes to hell, it's like, oh well.
So when you do the first footing, is it you coming through the door with the coal and the salt and
Yeah.
the whiskey?
Well, this is the thing, because obviously you read some of the rules, and some of the people are like, oh, it has to be someone who doesn't live in the house. But yet, the version that's been passed down through my family and through like so many other Northerners that I know is that you do your own first foot and you don't have someone coming to visit you.
Mm.
And I know, so yeah, so I go around and I carry, well, I cheat. I leave the bottle of whiskey at the front door rather than carrying it around the block with us, because otherwise I'll probably drop. And I don't drink, so it's the one time of year that I'll have like a tiny bit of it
Dram.
just for the sake of the tradition. I'm like, um, I bring in coal, um, which obviously is fairly synonymous with the region anyway. I think I usually bring in some silver coins and a box of mince pies because it
Nice.
should be like a black bun, but mince pies are nicer. And then yeah, I do my Instagram live now, so that's the additional part, and it's really sad because a few years ago I would go out and there'd be so many other neighbors doing it as well, and you'd kind of like nod at people because like you were all the chosen one who'd been kicked
Oh,
out before midnight, and now I'm like literally the only person who's out and about, and I must look really weird on all of the like doorbell cameras and whatnot, just kind of wandering around just before midnight. It must look really bizarre. But so
you
it's
got to
quite
keep it
sad that
alive.
like hmm?
I said, but you got to keep it alive.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing where, it's there's so many reasons why I shouldn't do it because obviously I'm a girl and, I mean I live in my own house, but I think, ultimately it's sort of worked so far. I mean, I'm still here, so and I finally got my PhD, so it must have worked. Uh,
Hey.
Hey.
but yeah, so I think that's probably it for me. And then I don't know, I've got synesthesia and I associate like color with completely the wrong stuff, including times. So the month of January is the wrong color, which I know sounds like a weird thing to say, but December's a much nicer color, so I don't like the color of January.
What color is January to you?
Oh, it's like a really, really horrible, like, when you've got something like grey clothing that's really washed out and it's
That is exactly what I'd say January is like
That's
it's
my birth month.
I'm
Because
sorry,
we all
Bethan.
feel a bit washed out like an old rag in January. Maybe that's the.
Yeah, and it's the weather as well. The weather tends to be quite dingy in January.
yeah, and then I'm going to give blood on the second. Because they're going to check if I can actually do the platelet donation. So, because giving blood's important. and I've got like the rarest blood type because of course I do. God forbid I do anything normal. So it's that's when I booked the appointment. So I was like, yeah, that'll be a way to see the new year, and please take some of my blood.
Like the reverse vampire.
Yeah, I'm generous. What can I say?
You could come through the front door with a vial of your blood. So I mean that must be quite good because it's so rare.
I mean, nobody's going
I
on
mean
Christmas
you're
break.
obviously carrying the blood already, so I don't.
Yeah, I think the other thing about New Year as well is the fact that, you know, we've got all these little sort of superstitions and what have you. And I'd love to know how many people do them and don't even
Mm.
realize that they're doing them.
Mm,
So how many people listen and are like, oh, that's why I do that, or whatever the case may be.
I mean, when I was reading through, like I went on a bit of a tangent with the New Year's Eve sort of superstitions and traditions. And as I was reading through, you get the idea that people's New Year's Eve traditions are as numerous as there are like sort of family names. Like every single family does something slightly different. There isn't like a general overarching theme of like everyone does this, everyone does that. It's everyone has like their weird little thing that they do for luck. Like, the lucky underpants sort of thing.
Mm. And the funny thing is, as well, when you think about it, obviously different cultures are operating by different calendars.
mm,
So the idea of a universal new year
Mm,
sort of doesn't really work. And I think that's why I quite like marking time with things like the solstices and the equinoxes, because I know they're reversed in the southern hemisphere, but they still happen
mm,
on the same time. So I quite like the fact that they're the one like, I mean, I guess the equinox is possibly not that helpful if you live at the equator, but it's one of those things that like it's an observable thing that happens for everyone. Whereas obviously for New Year, it's like, well, it depends. Is that the
mm.
calendar you're following?
mm.
And obviously, who's to say that that can't just randomly change again? Because we all accept that that's how time's divided up now. But imagine if somebody suddenly found an extra 10 minutes in the day. I mean, I'd be happy. I would spend it reading, let's be honest. But
Have you heard the 12 grapes one?
yeah, don't
Yeah.
explain it though.
It the I so I found that really funny because I looked into it and I'm not sure if this is just sort of hearsay allegorical whatever, but it's so petty how that came about. It was the Spanish mocking the French by eating grapes at New Year's because they would be drinking champagne. And then later on, the district of Alicante overproduced grapes. So they started marketing the grapes to the Spanish as saying, you must eat 12 of these at midnight on the chime of each uh, bell at midnight, which then leads to a lot of people choking.
Nice.
Nice. Petty.
It is, it's really petty.
Yeah, I might give that one a miss.
I've tried it, it is difficult. This
Yeah,
is part of the competitive eating thing.
you need to keep them all in your mouth at the same time as well. Like you're not allowed to chew them, are you?
I know I was told you've got to completely swallow one before
Oh,
you get
right.
the
Either
next
way,
one
you
in.
could choke, yeah.
Mm.
Or in a good little mouth.
I should say for health and safety purposes, we don't condone
No.
most of
We
the
do
things
not
in this
encourage
episode.
this.
We do encourage the Mari Lwyd, and that's about it.
Yes.
And first footing, because that's reasonably all right, I suppose. And anyone who lives in a flat, I've got you. What I used to do is I literally just used to go outside and come back in the same door, but as long as it was obviously before midnight. And then I had a flatmate who let us out and then sat and watched the fireworks, all 20 minutes of them, and left me outside.
Oh.
Oh,
Thanks. Um, but yeah. So I got to see the wildlife of Shepherd's Bush where I was living at the time.
Was it wild?
Yes.
I
That's when you were saying about people with like going up and down the street and making a row, and I'm like, yeah, I've been there.
I mean,
Not me doing it, but me hearing it. But yeah.
my flat on New Year's Eve is surrounded by different fireworks. Oh, well, New Year's Eve and fireworks night, different fireworks displays around all of Colchester. It's like being in the middle of a war zone.
Because
I
we
have to
normally have
hide the
the
cat in the
artillery
boiler.
range practicing anyway, so it's
Well, it's been lovely having you, and hearing what you're going to do for New Year with the competitive eating, and now I'm hungry for dumplings. And also bringing a bit more Mari Lwyd onto the show. I know there's at least one uh viewer who'll be particularly chuffed to hear more Welsh folklore. And I think it's always just nice to hear what people do in different places and whatnot.
Mhm.
And I love the fact as well that the Mari Lwyds become like almost this, like Sean was talking about, like this art figure, if that makes sense. Like people make artwork just of the Mari now, so it's just kind of gone off into sort of visual media as well, and I think that's really cool.
Bethan's got some very special artwork of the Mari Lwyd.
Do you want to see it?
Yes.
Can I
She's going to
flash on
crash
your
you.
show?
I mean, I can always cut it out. Oh, cool.
It's awesome, isn't it?
Yeah, how long did that take?
4 hours.
That's not bad.
Oh,
That's really cool.
Mari?
I think that's probably a good moment to end that on, because no one's going to top that. So do you want to tell people where they can find you online and all that kind of jazz?
Yeah. Oh, you can find Eerie Essex on every platform, I think. I don't think there's a platform we're not on. We've spread ourselves near and far.
But as suggestions, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, anywhere that you normally find a podcast, you will probably find us.
Hmm. We pop up everywhere.
And what have you got coming up? What are your next few episodes going to be about? Just because I'm nosy.
Well, January, I have put my foot down and said we're doing roads again because I'm desperate to do roads again.
Yeah.
I have a season 2. We're calling next year season 2 because we're trying to get back into the swing of doing this more regularly because we've been a bit lax. But we'll be doing things like premonitions,
Yes,
graveyards,
premonitions.
Graveyards, yeah.
schools.
We're gonna have some more guests on.
Yeah, more guests. We're going to just try our best to get back into doing this regularly because we've both been a little bit
There's a
like
lot happening
under
this year.
we've had a lot happen and we've not neither of us are particularly well people, so
Yeah.
I'm glad to
maybe
hear
we
that
need
you're
to do
doing some
all of
more.
these good luck things on New Year's
Mm.
so we actually don't get sick again.
And blow
You know,
cinnamon through the front door and everything.
it is also quite cute though that you're doing the we're gonna do season 2 now, because technically speaking, Fabulous Folklore 7 in the middle of January, and it's still on season 1.
Well, that makes you feel better. Yeah, we
Yeah.
couldn't be asked. Just it says just what season you on now. Well, you haven't changed. That's not been a grand cliffhanger.
No, it's the season thing is literally just for our own mentality, like going, we're doing this fresh, like we're going back into it with fresh perspective, fresh eyes, like, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, I think on that note, I'll wish you both a most excellent new year.
Bye.
Cheerio.
Bye.
Well, thanks for listening, and I hope you enjoyed that episode. I don't get paid per play of the podcast like musicians do, so if you'd like to support the podcast so I can keep it ad-free and help me pay for all the annoying stuff like web hosting and cover the hours it takes me to make these episodes, then you can buy me a coffee on Ko-fi or become a member of the Fabulous Folklore family by becoming a paid supporter on Ko-fi, Patreon and Substack. Or you can leave a review, tell a friend, or share episodes on social media for free. It all helps.